All right, Dollface, I know you've been lying to me this whole time, so you better start singing like a bird or I'm putting you in the storage closet. You understand? Well, what do you have to say for yourself? Hey guys, it's Matt from Tech One. You know, one thing we hear a lot when we're in labs is, hey, I've put a thermometer in my cryostat chamber and I've left it, overnight, and the temperature of the thermometer is not the same as the temperature of my display. Do I have a problem with my cryostat? So what I figured I'd do is I'd do a video on how much the temperature varies from location to location within your cryostat, and I think you'll be surprised how much it is. So if that's something you're interested in, please stick around. Thanks. I'm going to start the video with a quick anatomy lesson of the refrigeration system inside the chamber of your cryostat. Clearly there's a lot more going on below in the compressor area. There's a fan, a compressor, and some other stuff, but we're only concerned in this video with the chamber temperature or chamber refrigeration system itself. This happens to be a Leica, but they all basically work the same. I chose this one because frankly it's what I have. But they all, once you learn about this, you hopefully will be able to, understand them all. We'll start here at the top. There is, behind the screen, there is a refrigeration coil. If you've ever looked in your refrigerator, for example, in the back of your refrigerator, you might have seen a coil like this. Sometimes they're hidden, sometimes they're not. Right here is the temperature sensor, and this is what is measuring the air temperature and turning the compressor on and off for the needs of the chamber. It'll turn on when the temperature gets, I don't know, maybe 2 degrees higher, and turn back off when it gets 2 degrees colder than the set temperature. So that's what's measuring your actual temperature. This is your cryo bar, and on most modern cryostats, the cryo bar has a refrigeration coil in it as well to get things even cooler. And this one has what's called a Peltier, which is a device to get this little section of the cryo bar even colder than this. And then the final thing is, and I don't think a lot of people realize this, on the floor of the cryostat, all the way around, and I think it depends from model to model, there's another refrigeration coil, and it's in between the insulation and this piece of metal, and it cools the floor. And when you combine this coil and this coil, you've got a lot of refrigeration potential that'll take the heat out of this chamber and keep it very cool very efficiently. So this is the system I'm using. It's a basic temperature sensor. It's got 4 probes on it and 4 different displays for each probe. And I'm going to take each of the probes and put them in a different location in the chamber, and we're going to see how much variation there is from one spot to the next depending on temperature. So let me get set up and we'll get started. Thanks. I've taken the 4 temperature sensors and I've put them in 4 different places around this chamber. The first one I put in the coils themselves, and that's going to be much colder than the rest of the chamber is, because it's actually sitting right on the refrigeration coils. The second one I set right next to the temperature sensor. I actually wrapped it around the temperature sensor, and this one will probably read almost exactly at any given moment what the actual temperature display tells us. The third one I put right in front of the chuck holder, so we can see what the temperature is there, and the fourth one I set right in front of the knife holder, so we can see what that temperature is. I'm going to close the door for a while and just let everything equilibrate, stabilize, and we're going to see what the temperatures are when we come back. So I've had this thing closed for about a half an hour now, so everything should be pretty well equilibrated. Notice how cold the coil temperature is, and that's because it's got to get really cold to draw the rest of the temperature down, and in fact you'll see as we go it's going to rise up pretty quickly. This is the actual temperature by the temperature probe over here, and you can see it says 22. It's 20.1, and it's going to change pretty rapidly. The big surprises though are that the object holder, or the chuck holder, is minus 17, 16.9, and the knife holder is minus 16.2. Now, I guess you can see that there's quite a bit of variation. Now we're going to do something that I hadn't originally planned, but I think might be interesting. I'm going to leave all the temperature sensors where they were originally, and we're going to open the window and leave it open for 10 minutes, and we're going to see how much the temperatures change. Once again, this is the coil, this is the temperature sensor, this is your object holder, and this is your knife. We're going to see how much those temperatures change over the course of 10 minutes on my phone. Let me open that up. And we're just going to let this run and see how much those vary. I'm going to turn the sound off because I don't think you guys are going to be interested in hearing me breathe for that amount of time. But let's go ahead and see how this thing changes over the course of 10 minutes. I'll see you in a few. All right, so our 10 minutes are up according to my phone, and one thing that's kind of interesting is how stable the primary temperatures remained. The coil temperature fluctuated quite a bit, but that's what we're expecting because that's what's keeping the chamber cool and at a constant temperature. But the rest of the temperatures, were not bad, within a degree or two. So I guess the question is, how much does this matter? And I think the answer is probably not a ton. It really just depends on what your application is. Some people like them colder, some people like them warmer, but if you're getting good results, then stick with it. Who am I to tell you what to do? Anyway, hopefully you found that interesting, and if you have any questions, call me, write me, text me, right below, whatever you like. Thanks for watching. Why do you keep lying to me?